fast before it, you will not get a side effect. And I was like, okay. So I said to Neil, I'm going to try. I can't fit the 3 days in before
this one
chemo, but I'll start now. So I think at that stage, it was about 19 hours I fasted before I had my first dose of the Red Devil. And I took the steroids. I played by the books.
Yes.
Took the steroids, went from that. I was all fine. And then when I did the next round, so 2 weeks later, I did the 3-day fast, which I broke it up at about the 48-hour mark with one meal. And then I continued the fast. So, and they say you can do that. Like you can still stay in a fasted group with one meal and continue. And I didn't take the steroids. And fatigue. So the fatigue was the only one I really had, and a change in taste buds. So, you know, when you go in there and I'm going to be all healthy. You know, I'm going to be really good.
Not me, I eat my feelings.
Yeah, well,
I had beetroot juice. Beetroot cold-pressed juice was my main thing because it's a blood cleanser. So I'd often be like, yep. And they're like, what are you drinking there? I'm like, oh, you know, red wine with my quinoa.
As you do. I feel that would have been better.
But
So like literally I remember, and still to this day, so you know when you're pregnant and someone gives you some bit of food and you're like, oh my God, get that shit away from me. The smell, the taste.
Me, I also ate my feelings through all my pregnancies.
So anyway, Neil made me a beautiful bone broth first round of chemo.
Can we all get a Neil?
And I smelt it.
Simply.
And I smelt it and I went, I don't think I can eat that. And he goes, just give it a go. And I put it to my mouth and literally I just spat it out and went, oh my God, I can't deal. I can't deal. So I don't know what he made me up for dinner that night, but I had something else. And then after that, while I was on the Red Devil, so that first week, I survived on hot chips and diluted red cordial. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got fucking cancer and I'm eating hot chips and sugar. Like, how am I supposed to heal myself?
Well, why not really if you're having the Red Devil?
Well, that's what I thought.
Well, then my beautiful beautician, she was like, Jess, don't worry about it. There are vitamins and everything in potatoes. Like, you will be fine. Like, just do what your body says and what you can do. But as for... So, you know, when you sit in there and they're like, any nauseousness, any diarrhea, any this, any that, I'd be like, no. Like, just no every time. And then my bloods would always come back impeccable.
wow.
And so never really dropped. Like, it did get low in the, come on, brain.
Are we getting liver?
No, not liver, your white blood cells, but your immunity.
Sure. Yeah.
So they did drop, but not enough where I ever had to stop one treatment.
Hot flush, babe?
Yeah.
Should we blow? I hear you. I had one about 10 minutes ago. Can I just there's a...
So like honestly, was just amazing. And so then when I moved to the Taxol, which is weekly, and yes, I would lose weight, but by the time I got to the next one, my weight would be at a level where they weren't in panic mode either. But yeah, when I did the Taxol, I just did a 24-hour fast.
Yeah. Just speaking of the weight, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was like, okay, if I'm going to go through this crappy cancer experience, at least I'm probably going to be skinny now. And only to find it was the opposite. You're gonna put all this weight, and the steroids make you retain all this fluid, and you get this moon phase situation.
So that's
Dumpty is how I felt.
That was just so freaking nuts. But
so the fasting, I never had any of that.
Really?
No, none of that whatsoever.
I know. I feel this information would have been handy.
Well, you see, and the other
Still want to keep my feelings. I feel like I don't think I would have been able to fast because when I felt sad, I just...
So the other tip I had was in the beginning of chemo when you got your mouth ulcers and I would tape mouth. So I tape my mouth up when I would go to sleep.
really?
Yeah. So when you tape your mouth...
Okay.
So Neil has been an insomniac from the day he was born. Never slept a wink in his life until we started like CBD oils and that sort of stuff. Changed his life. Like literally the first night he had that, he slept a full 8 hours. God, that never happened in his life. Like when we had children, he would get up to the kids. It actually destroyed my world, like when he started sleeping through, because then now, you mean I have to get up to the kids? Yeah. That was your job, dude. That were like, how rude. Like, I love my sleep.
Yeah.
But like he would come in and put the girls on my boob. I'd still be asleep, change them, do everything. Like I'd just be like, oh, what a great night's sleep that was. He was like,
Pete, can we all find a Neil?
and all that sort of stuff. So
CBD oil is just the bomb, honestly. But the thing is, what annoyed me is how I had to fight to have it. Because not similar to you, I had a lot of issues. I really struggled with Red Devil and the not eating and the metallic. And I think I actually lost 3 kilos in my first sort of fortnight.
Oh, the metallic taste. I forget about that.
Yeah, metallic. Everything just tasted like metal. And especially when like that first drop went in, you could taste it, literally. And the hospital. The last thing you want to do is freaking eat a meal. And then I had this neurotic, best friend at home who was trying to like do his best by over compensating for everything and making these meals. And he's like, it's like you're not even trying to eat the food I make. You're so ungrateful. And I'm like, really? But then being told off by the oncologist, being like, you can't afford to lose weight because they make your chemo to your body, your weight and your body weight. And if you lose that, obviously it kind of overpowers the body.
And they have to change it.
And they have to change it and they want to keep it as maximum as possible. So even if someone is a little bit overweight or whatever you say, they can't lose weight while they're on treatment. But I remember being told off by the oncologist and I'm like, okay, my bad. I am freaking trying. And they're like, oh, well, there's this, I think it was like an antipsychotic or something, he said you can take that gives you appetite. And I'm like, what else does it freaking give you? So you're going to give me something to increase my appetite and then do X, Y, and Z as well. Do you have any other options? He said no. So that I had to go out of my way and discover about this medicinal cannabis and CBD oil. And I found a clinic where, it was great, but I had to go out of my way to find that, and have him give me his opinions of like, oh, well, I don't know. We don't necessarily always recommend it. But I said, well, and I've never been a cannabis person, but I got the oil with the THC in it. And I told this GP, he was freaking amazing. He was like, right, you're on this type of treatment. I recommend this. You're going to feel weird or whatever, but at least, and I got an appetite. I was able to eat. The steroids keep you up at night, so you're able to actually kind of sleep and stay asleep for a while. And I'm like, oh, like, have I been missing out? Is story life for me?
Yeah.
This whole time.
Honestly, my big thing was like with the whole journey, I wanted to sort of not take as many meds as I can. Just try and keep it to the chemo because you take one med and then they were like, oh, and like if you have this side effect, we'll give you this. But then there'll be a side effect for that. You'll have that and then you'll need this and then you'll need that. So my whole point behind it was like if I could have as minimal extra meds than what I needed, that was my goal. But yeah, so when I got the mouth ulcers, I remembered because they're like, it dries your mouth out. So then I was like, tape my mouth up. So literally I went to tape my mouth up and then through all of chemo, no mouth sores, no nothing. So I would remember when I'd be at the chemo ward because I did it publicly. So, everyone's sitting around and you get some person coming in for their first session. They're talking about everything and they're going on, rah, rah, rah. The nurse would leave and I'd be like, okay, so
here's the actual.
So what do you need to know?
Here's what you need to do. So
pamphlets.
If this happens, do this. And one lady, she was like, oh, write this down. And I'm like, yeah, write it down because, you'd even talk. I remember talking to my oncologist a couple of things and he's like, wouldn't know. Oh, yeah. And like even when I mentioned to him,
they would say like, what's spirulina? What's spirulina? And I'm like, what do you mean?
You're in the medical world. What do you mean you haven't read up on fasting? Yeah. Like I honestly believe in my medical profession, because as we go through all this, like we become doctors.
I always say I'm a nurse now.
We learn. All right. I fully believe that in the next 5 to 10 years, if there is a medical ailment that we have, we will be put on fasting and a ketogenic diet. I really believe that will be the way things will be, handled.
Well, I mean, other parts of the world, you know, where you you're treated as a holistic individual. Yes. You're not just treated as a
pincushion.
Yeah, pincushion. Where, you know, love Western medicine. Obviously, you know,
there's places for it.
Yeah, definitely. But also, being South African, you know, we were brought up with quite a bit of understanding of plant medicine, connection to nature, connection to animals, the recognition of, you know, what you choose to kind of have around you, the influence of stress, etc. So it was always interesting when I'd tell people, you know, who were of different ethnic diverse groups of the cancer, and they were like, oh, how much stress did you have in your life and all this type of stuff. Like, they initially go to that instead of, oh, you know, your body failed you and but I think, yeah, definitely a holistic approach where your oncologist's job is to obviously keep you alive with the medicines that they know from the textbooks that they know, but you are also allowed to look outside the box. Yeah, you go, okay, you're doing this. Now, how can I also help myself? Yeah. You know, the chemo is there to kill everything. And Red Devil, it kills everything from a DNA level. Yeah. So being able to supplement with things like spirulina for myself, I found this was really quite good because it helped with some of the iron that I was losing and stuff like that. The fasting and, you know, a number of different things. There's no one size fits all treatment, and you are allowed to look at things, challenge things, bring those options to the table and be an active participant in your own journey, because it is your own freaking journey and they only know what they know. Yeah. And they don't know what they kind of don't know.
And I kind of feel like when you look into these other things, I based it on with how it felt for me.
Yeah.
Because
very important.
I really don't like the story journey, but everyone's story is unique. So like, I was literally talking to a lady today who has cancer of the bile and it spread to her liver. And I was explaining a few things, you know, again, I'd sometimes get a bit frustrated when people would give you advice and they're not in the story. You know, I had one lady come up to me and go, oh my God, my friend of a friend, she cured her breast cancer by the potato skin diet. Are you going to try that? I was like, no. Yeah. I was like,
if it worked, everyone would be doing it.
And I'm like, no. Thank you. Like, I've got my team, and I know what feels right for my body. And so that was like, with everything that I read, everything was clicking. I'm like, I've got to fix my hormones, you know, now learn about mitochondria. Before this journey, I wouldn't even know what that word was. So it was just all these things. And it wasn't just from the book. It was then I was listening to something, and then this podcast would come up about the mitochondria and fasting. And then there was this and there was that. And the same thing happened with the carnivore diet. It was just like, just these things were coming everywhere where I was just like, oh, it makes, in my world, it makes sense. Yeah. So it's just
your own toolbox if you think for recovery. Yeah. Well, speaking of toolboxes, I guess, you know, a major part of this is our relationships and how, you know, getting diagnosed and then treatment and beyond affects, you know, our relationships with people, their ability to cope, or finding that they don't necessarily have the capacities we thought they would have. Yeah. What sort of boundaries did you guys find that you needed to kind of put into place?
I feel this is a good one for you, too, because you had a lot change.
Do you mean like in like a family sense, or do you mean like
I mean friends, family? Because I mean it's all, you know, part of the nucleus that's you, right?
Yeah, I mean I was really lucky. I have amazing parents. So
and fabulous as well, might I add. Fabulous. Your mum,
babe,
absolute spirit animal. Me at that age, love.
Yeah, she definitely is. She's one of a kind. So my dad was actually my chemo buddy. And a bit of a backstory, I've got the BRCA2 gene, which after doing genetic testing comes from my dad's side of the family. The men pass it down to their daughters. So we've got like quite a significant family history of it. So my dad is the best. I'm his bestie that he never knew he needed. Yeah. I mean, he would never say that because he's probably really sick of me.
You've said it for him.
I've said it for him.
I know he's thinking it.
A little bit of a background, I think. So the BRCA2 gene basically has a higher propensity for not just the breast cancer, but then is ovarian.
So after doing testing, I think I had between 75 and 79% chance of breast cancer, which I obviously had. And then it was like over 50% chance of ovarian. So I had to have a total hysterectomy.
Yeah, as a preventative.
Which, then put me further into menopause. Fantastic. And I also have like a 5% chance of pancreatic cancer as well. But unfortunately, you can't get that removed. I did try.
I mean, how much do I really need it?
Is it just like that? Is it just appendix? Like it's just there, but you know,
I did say that it's an accessory. She did laugh at me.
Got to give it a try.
I'm pretty sure you need your pancreas, babe.
Yeah, so it's just like, and he's like, I'm sure, and I'm like, but are you really sure? And he's like, definitely sure. So my dad was my essential person, as was my mum, but she also stayed with the kids, and she's amazing with kids as well. So I felt like she was probably the best person to be looking after them and helping them through because she's amazing at what she does. So I mean, they would tag team essentially. As I've said before, my ex-husband worked away and continued to work away. We did it. I'm trying to think of like a nice way to say how we separated, but it was a bit of a domestic violence situation, which I feel like he tried to blame on cancer.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I remember walking into my oncologist waiting room for my pre-chemo appointments with my dad, and I looked around and every single person there had their husband or their partner. And while obviously I love my dad being there, I was like, this is shit. Like, I feel like when you get married,
Sickness or health.
like, don't
You expect them to show up.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I feel like I would be if the roles were reversed, like 100%. So, for me, the breakdown of marriage also didn't help, and the situation surrounding it was a lot of trauma, really. And while I wasn't too phased with me, but with the children, obviously your mum's got cancer, and then the family breakdown and all that kind of stuff. So it was not a very good time. Yeah. And I feel like I've probably taken the last 2 years to better myself, heal myself, not just like physically, but like emotionally and mentally. So it is a lot. And I think the worst thing about cancer for me has been the aftermath of active treatment. 100%. Like, I had no problems doing chemo. I could do chemo right now, like that.
Okay, well,
I didn't have symptoms. I didn't have any, like, I didn't find chemo that bad. But now the aftermath of chemo,
survival,
way worse for me. I have to train like excessively just to like minimize my bone and joint pain.
Yes.
I take exemestane on top of my total hysterectomy. So I just have constant joint and bone pain. And I know you guys will understand that, but when you say that to someone, they're like, oh yeah, but look, still you look fine. Your hair's grown back. And I'm like,
exactly.
I mean, when you finish, it's a subject that's not talked about, and I've mentioned it a couple of times in the support group. It's. I said it to someone.
It's like the fourth trimester of.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's life. It's the life after cancer, and that's what I struggled with the first time around. Was just like, oh, off you go. You're all done. You're fine. And I'm like, but I'm not fine.
Yeah, and
I'm absolutely.
It's that whole thing of everyone else around you kind of going, oh, okay, but the hardest bit is done now, right? Yeah. Because we no longer, to them, they no longer need to come into hospital with you, or they no longer need to come to appointments. They get to move on and have their normal lives. And you're going, yeah, but what about my going in for the blood test every other week, or having to have the appointment, and all that surveillance was some kind of like a cushioning. You know, I no longer have that.
And now I'm like a security world.
And now it's like, oh my God, what do you mean?
But even in the treatment, it's just always the one foot in front.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got this appointment to do. I've got to go here. I've got to be there. That's the blood test happening. This is happening.
Yeah.
You're just going through the flows,
Exactly.
but then it stops, and then it's this.
Yeah.
It's the next part. I think this is where more of the support needs to happen.
Yeah,
I found
but
as
it-
well, like after the breakdown of my marriage, I had to go straight back into work.
Yeah.
So working while still having surgeries, like I would have a surgery on a Wednesday and be back at the salon on a Thursday. Like, but that's what you have to do. Essentially.
And that's the thing, like, you know, people say to you, like, how did you do it? Like, you look so good. How, you know, your strength. But it's like, but how else are you supposed to cope with it? Because
I don't know. Yeah, keep going.
because like you say, you know, we've been in this kind of like this cycle of just like 1 week here, 1 week there, you know, blood test, etc. And then it finishes, but then you've still got a surgery, or you've still got a blood test and this, and you still have to just get on with normal life. And, you know, so many times people would say like, oh, but you just look so well. And the other thing for me is, but it was almost like a double-edged sword, because I kept my hair. So people said to me, but you look so well. And I'm like, yeah, but I still have fucking cancer. Like, it still sucks. I feel like shit. And I still feel like shit. And
I feel like people will make such a big like deal around hair.
Yes.
And I don't know, like I remember people saying to me, oh, you've got cancer and like you're going to lose your hair. That wasn't even a factor for me. Like I couldn't have given a shit. Even now, like, yes, I've got hair extensions at the moment. Otherwise, I normally have shorter hair. But when people say, oh, do you like your short hair better? Or do you like your long hair? I don't really care. I've had no hair. So to
wish
me,
my hair never
it's just
grew back.
like with a face like this, you need
Exactly. Do you know, I didn't mind so much the top hair because I had wigs and everything anyway. What I didn't realize I would miss the most is my nose hairs.
Oh, yeah.
Not having a friggin' nose hairs and having a dripping nose all the time, like a freaking faucet. That's
Like everything.
Yeah. And you're literally like that.
What about your pubes? I actually didn't even think of that. But okay, here we'll go into what, like, here we are. We're finally like, did everyone else's grow back straight?
Great.
No. Straight.
Great.
Mine.
Really?
Dead straight.
It's straight anyway.
I was going to say mine have always been straight.
Really?
And like,
Laser. I don't have that much.
I was going to say I've always been a little bit of like a shaven head.
I found like my hair on my head. I always had thick hair, but it is thicker than what it was. But my body hair only came back half, like half strength.
Really?
Like literally, I don't even have anything on my top half from my knees up. No hair. Minimal on my legs, and my arm hair used to be thicker than this, and it's nice. Like you can't really see much of it anymore. And then finally, the radiation has annihilated all my armpit hair.
Yeah. Well, I'm annoyed because
Did yours grow back?
So the side where I had radiation, it didn't really grow back. Yeah, it was kind of just very weak. And I thought, okay, this is cute. But then my other side didn't keep that same energy. Yeah. So it was like, I'm going to overcompensate, and we're just going to friggin'. But the thing is, and then my brows, when the hair, my brows and my lashes came back, they were like, we're not quite sure. So then you got gaps. And I'm like, guys.
And then they would fall out again.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. When mine is struggling to grow back.
And I'm like, can y'all just have a meeting and then divide in the middle? What you're doing. Let's keep the same energy. Like if you're going to come on through everyone do the same thing. Not the lashes and the brows are like, we're shy. And then underarms are like, or the one side of the underarms and then this side.
Well, see, I even approached my oncologist. I was like, okay, you guys really need to get your shit together. Because I said, can't you just microdose me? Can I just have like a micro dose of chemo where it just keeps, keep body hair type thing? That would be really great.
That's preventative.
Yeah, definitely.
Just hook me up.
But honestly, like when I had the first lot of radiation done, so only half my armpit, and it was just this big square. And they're like, 6 months, it'll grow back. No, it never grew back. So I ended up getting my armpits lasered. They do this side for free and just charge me $12 for one pit because they're like, like 2 lines, like, blah, blah, it's done. And I was like, geez, I didn't do that one well. I should have gone. So I remember sitting in there for radiation this time. I'm like, okay, so when we do it, make sure you go all the way up both sides because I don't want to come back and have to pay for fucking laser.
Yeah.
You guys just do it for me, please, because it won't grow back.
So question, because I don't want to ask them because I also have not disclosed my cancer diagnosis and the thought that they might not let me have laser.
Yes.
Can you get your underarms lasered if you've had your lymph nodes removed?
Well,
no one seems to be able to answer this question.
Well, so for me, the first time round, I only had 2 nodes removed.
Okay.
So there was no any issue. And because you could literally see the defining line of where the radiation was. So they were going above. So nothing was affected on that arm. So they were happy. And the right side had no issues. That was still healthy at that stage. But yeah, I don't know.
My question is though, wouldn't they see your scar?
No, because I only get my Brazilian lasered.
Oh, so you want to get your...
I want to get my underarms done, but I don't want to be because when you fill out the form, I was just the first time I went and asked, they were like, oh no, we can't do that. And I'm like, I've not had any treatment down there.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And they were like, no. But then all my friends made fun of me because I've still been waxing like it's 1992.
Yeah.
And they were like, time to get some laser, girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then anytime I get a piece of paper and they're like, just give us your brief medical history, I'm like,
There's not enough room.
there's nothing brief for me.
You just have you
I'm
got.
like, oh no, never had that.
I get that.
Pillar of health.
Yes.
Speaking of all the body things, you two ladies put your gorgeous bodies on display at the recent Boobalicious Ball.
Yeah, you did.
Just a little?
Just a little bit. Just a little something.
Some more than others.
Yeah, I mean, let's have a chat about that because...
Let me just come out of Jess's shadow.
Look, so first... I don't know. Have you guys attended the Boobalicious Ball before?
Never.
No.
Yeah, me neither. So
It was a Boobalicious virgin.
yes, cherry popped. It's an annual breast cancer fundraiser, and I think it's the biggest one in Perth, where they literally raise a lot of money for breast cancer research.
It was
Did you tell you
the most they've ever raised that year.
A lot of money
This year.
but obviously it's a Boobalicious Ball, so it's very sexy people, very long-legged models, etc. down the runway, and then they get the survivors to do the runway. And when I tell you, I gave myself laryngitis and my soul left my body, and watching you girls freaking own that runway like actual freaking models. I'm like, yes.
Well, that's because what happened was we took a lot of notes in the rehearsal.
Just a little bit of Prosecco.
Just a little bit.
You gotta
Courage, babe.
Y'all were born with it because seriously, watching you guys walk with just okay, that's decided to be.
Need a cold shower?
I'm like getting emotional. You're like, we'll make your heart do it.
It was like she's either having a hot flush or she's going to tear up.
All the above. Just owning that freaking stage and, walking with such effervescence and a glow and just being like, fuck yeah, I'm here, irrespective of whatever scars I've got, what I do or don't have on my body, this is it, take me as I am, because there's so much in my journey in my life that I haven't chosen, but I still get to choose how I show up here. Watching you guys, I was just, so what was that experience like? Getting to just walk that freaking runway. I think there was a 2-piece sponsored set.
Yeah.
And we'll talk in a second about you, but yeah, talk us through that, the freaking liberation.
So I think it was Lani when she was like, oh, come on guys, let's do this thing. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I'm a yes person. Yeah, don't say no.
In her yes,
Like, I really need to learn that lesson, but I was like, yeah,
for that.
oh, like,
But it was only a model.
yeah, like I mean,
I don't know, were you thinking it was clothing?
no, I thought it was in the original email. I'm pretty sure they said that it.
Well, no, like when Lani first said, "Oh, who wants to be a model?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll model clothing." Like that was my initial
To be fair,
like.
I wouldn't have thought us regular peasants would fit in model clothing. Like, no offense to anyone.
Yeah.
Like normally it's like size 4 this
Yes,
dress
and
size
also none
whatever.
of us are 6 foot. So
No.
yeah.
So I actually really just didn't even know what I was signing up for, to be honest. I just agreed to it.
Yeah, in the yes era.
Just was like, sure, I'll be there. I feel like young me would be like super proud because if you'd said that to me when I was like 20, I would have been like, I would never in a million years do that. But I feel like since having cancer, I'm so confident and so reassured in myself that if anyone was to say anything, I'd be like, whatever. Like,
It's a fuck.
yeah,
Have you overcome cancer? No, shut up.
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. I just feel like I'm just like loving myself and loving the person I've healed to be and just looking forward to so much more growth and so many more achievements. Like every year I try to do a bucket list of things I want to achieve. They might be small things, big things, and like I try to nail them every year because for me, it's so important that I feel like once you've been sort of in a way faced with death, like you think, I've done nothing. I've done nothing that I wanted to do, like, or I've not done much of what I wanted to do.
Yes.
And there's so many things that I wanted to achieve with just my Alex hat on. Not someone's mom, not someone's this, not someone's, I'm just as myself. And while that may seem selfish, I feel like I do a pretty good job at.
I wouldn't say it's selfish. I say you're filling your bucket.
I'm filling my bucket and
filling your cup.
I don't believe in the word selfish.
Yeah.
I believe in self-full.
Yeah.
Yeah, self-full for sure.
But like
Also, isn't this like the authentic you?
100%. And I think people look at me and they think either, oh, that girl, she had cancer, or like a bit of a pity party or something. Whereas I feel like I have never felt like
I was going
that.
to say you're the
I've just been
opposite
like,
of that.
how can I beat this? And how can I keep striving forward like in life? And what can I keep doing? Like, I love hitting goals. Like I remember you touched on before about like being able to lift your arm up. And I remember walking into my first lymphedema physio appointment and I was just like, she goes, oh, can you put your arms up? I'm like, yeah. She's like, how can you do that? And I'm like, I literally have been pushing myself to be able to do this because I want to do like, you know, A, B, and C, and I can't do that if I can't move my arms. And then another time I went in there and I said to her, I was like, oh, I managed to do a handstand. And I mean, to most people, that's nothing because let's face it, most people can do a handstand.
It's amazing.
But she was like, the fact that you can actually do a handstand after having, like I had multiple surgeries, like I couldn't even tell you how many. It felt really good. And I feel like every time I go back to see my medical team, I was so lucky. Like my oncologist is great and my surgeon, Ed Van Beem, massive shout out to him because he always, like the first moment I saw him, I could just feel he had my back. Like
good.
I was like,
Which is really nice.
we're going to beat this. This is what I want. Like I'm only 35. I want to feel like myself after this treatment. I want to feel like as good as better that I felt. Really.
Yeah, for sure.
And I 100%. Yeah. And like, I want to be able to like wear bathers or get naked. I mean, we all know that don't have a wrong heart, but like, I'm 100% like every time I see a medical professional, they say to me, this is one of the best reconstructions I've ever seen. Like, and every time I go back to him, he addresses any concern I have, or he'll say to me, we could tweak that, or we could tweak this. And nothing's too big of an ask for him. Like, I feel like he really takes on board like what I'm saying and how I'm feeling. And for, I think, a medical person, he has a very good sense of humor. It's good banter.
Yeah.
He's like a real character. And I feel like that really helped me through that. Like I remember him saying to me, this isn't going to happen overnight. It's a process. And like, you know, it could be 2 years, it could be 10 years. He's like, but I will be seeing you like every 6 months anyway.
Yeah.
And pretty much every 6 months, I go in for like a day procedure, do a tweak here and there.
I think that's the thing is, you know, people seem to think, oh, yeah, you've had the surgery, you were done, not realizing that reconstruction is like an ongoing sort of, it's an ongoing thing. You walked the Boobalicious Ball and shut it down just a little bit. And I think it was so. And you tell us what you did.
So what I ended up choosing to do was honoring who I am. So this has been a part of my whole story. Was I didn't want to hide behind anything. Mainly because of the two girls. So eldest daughter Audrey is 12, or well, now 13, and Charlotte is now 10. So at very impressionable ages of everything. So the reason why I ended up getting the double mastectomy, staying flat with no recon, was if I couldn't love my body as is, how are they going to be able to love their body when they grow up? And going through all these stages. The other one was I just wanted one and done, because my only option was breast implants, which didn't sit well with me. And then he's like, oh, we'll just chop your thighs open and we'll give we'll just take out a bit of meat and we'll put a boob. And I went,
that's not as simple as you're making it.
I was like,
to be.
So
for the 12-hour surgery.
So just let me just get this straight. You want to cut my thighs open to make a set of boobs that I won't be able to feel, just to have lumps to make me supposedly be a lady. I said, no. He's like, oh, what? I said, no. I said, it's going to be hard enough to recover from this, let alone how I'm going to get in and out of bed. How am I going to do stuff? So I was like, no, one, done, that's it. And he's like, you sure? I'm like, dude, I made this decision 5 years ago. So I said, let's just do it. So he literally pulled all the paper aside and I got to go and have my surgery 2 weeks after being diagnosed.
Wow.
And so from the 22nd of January 2003, I've not worn a bra. I've just remained flat. I've never really hidden it behind anything. So as you can see, I wear tight tops. I've got no problems. So yes, when we signed up to be these models, again, didn't really know what we're going into, but just thought it'd be clothing. And then the email comes through and it's just like, oh, and by the way, can you go to David Jones, Simone Perilee and go get fitted for your lingerie? We'll need bust size, hips and waist measurements. So, everything would be there when we get in for our first try on. And I remember sending Peter a message going, slight technical difficulties here. I don't have a bust size anymore. Yes. And she's like, not a problem. We'll put you in a cami. Like, that'll be fine. I was like, yeah, cami, I can do that. And I remember when we got into the change rooms, I was running a little bit late and they're like, oh, here's your outfit. They're like, there's not much to that outfit. That looks like a G-string and a little lace bracelet thing. And I was like, okay, try it on. We'll see how it goes. And actually the bracelet actually sat on my scar line. Right. So it, even in just that couple of minutes, I could feel the irritation. And I remember being in the change room. I did love the underwear, by the way. I do have a great knicker selection these days.
I feel like they should have let us keep them.
Well, yes, that was my. Yes.
Did it?
No, they go back. They go back into like the clearance sale as
Oh, come on, David
covered in
Jones.
sweat and
yes,
fake
same with the shoes we wore. They go back to bets and bets. So yeah, but I'm like, yeah, you could have just said, oh look, hey, just for what you've done, just keep it, just keep it. Yeah, but anyway,
who wants to buy your dirty clothes?
So
sweaty lingerie.
So while I was in the change room, I was like, this is not me. This is not who I am. But if it needs to be done, I'll wear it. But I then went home and I had a chat with Neil and the girls over dinner. And I went, okay, so you know how mum's going to be this model? I'm going to parade down the catwalk. They're like, yeah, go mum. I was like, yeah, well, I'm doing it in a G-string and a bra. And Neil's like, woohoo. And the girls are like, oh, gross. They're like, they're going to see your butt. I'm like, yep, they're going to see my butt. And I said, but I don't want to do it with a bra. I said, I think I just want to go down just in the knickers because this is who I am.
Yeah.
I don't want to hide behind anything. I'm all for it. And I said, the other thing is, if it means my scars will have someone go home and check their breasts and find an early breast cancer and save their life, or there's an extra $1,000, but an extra $1,000 donated for the night, I've achieved what I need to do. Yeah. I will do it. Yeah. So I'd not told anyone this. So I approached Peter when we got there and I said, I've got this idea, but I don't know whether or not it's doable because I don't want to offend anyone at the same time. And I know I'm thinking of others, but the world the way it is these days, I was like, and she was like, oh no, you so have to fucking do it. Like, do it. And I was like, you sure? She's like, do it.
And she did it.
Well, that was the help with still champagnes.
Wow.
And that sort of stuff. But it was funny because we'd done all the dress rehearsal and that, and we're out the back. And yes, I'd necked 2 champagnes because I was getting really, I will honest, I was getting really nervous. And then there was a TV screen where we could watch everyone. And I know we were huddled around it for a while, like, oh, yeah. So we're going to lean back and you're going to like kind of stamp as you walk, you know, try and get all these tips on, you know, how to look at least a little bit professional out there. And you guys had all gone on and I'm watching and they're like, it's your turn. I'm like, no. Who was in front of me?
Me.
Yeah, you. I'm like, no. I was like, yeah, they're doing. And they're like, no, it's you. And I'm like, oh shit, it is me. I'm like, oh, okay. Like just.
It did not translate watching you down the right.
Just go out there and do it. And I just remember by the time I'd taken it off and I sort of got halfway and I did my little twirl, like, yes, I've done this. And I get to the end and I actually look at the photos. I'm like, oh my God, my face is weird because I actually really didn't know whether not to laugh or cry. Like I was just so overwhelmed with everything. You couldn't really see, I couldn't see people. I knew Neil was out there somewhere because I told him.
Dark, obviously.
Yeah. It's all dark from where we were.
We'll just say
but I did freak out when they were like, the other one I freaked out was like, okay, you're going last. So when you get to the end, you can dance until the end of the song. And then I'm like, oh my God, I don't dance. Like I kind of do this or like jump around, but I don't dance. I'm like, are you sure you really want me at the front?
Really good. Yeah. Awesome. Really doesn't. And Neil was at our table. Yeah. The breasty table. I hadn't cottoned on. I hadn't clicked yet. Yeah. He was, but I kind of met him and he's just like this freaking Labrador in human form, just like happy to be there and like just, oh, lovely dress. Oh, you're, because my bestie was there with his sequin freaking suit. Love the suit.
Of course he was.
Yes. Just wanted to blend in.
Well, he did with all the other sequences.
Yeah, basically. But you walked down the runway and freaking that's what gets me the most freaking emotional is the fact that you're walking down topless with your scars on show. The room, like people just, you know, the room had already been warmed up and everything like that and clapping. But then the look on his face and the pride of watching his wife as the freaking fierce warrior that she is and just the way he was cheering you on, I was just like, oh, this man.
And I think that's like I would have loved to have seen it. Oh, but because of everything that was going on. And I remember talking to one of the dancers. She was my left dancer after we're actually outside. And I'm like, I don't really remember anything. I have watched that video hundreds of times trying to remember it. And she goes, oh, that's just normal. That's just modeling blackout. And I was like, what? And she goes, oh, no. She's like, yeah, it's a thing. She goes, a lot of the times we just go out and we just walk and you just blank out. You just thing. And I was like, oh, but I said, I didn't want to remember it. But, you know, I don't know that.
Are you professional now?
We are very professional.
I'm annoyed because I did have my phone on me and I was filming, but then I just got so taken in by the moment. We're all just like, oh my God, oh, this is
So beautiful.
And it was just,
Well, I also just wanted to really just make sure everyone knew and reminded them why we were here.
Yeah.
You know, and that sort of stuff. And the other one that I didn't realize how it was going to impact, I actually had several survivors come up to me after that, all the volunteers and that sort of stuff. And they were like, wow, like you've given me confidence. You know, for you to go out there and do that just shows I can do that.
Yeah.
You know, I can put myself out there. I don't need to hide anymore.
Absolutely.
So that was one thing I didn't realize would have had an impact with women there. So, you know, if they were ever to say to me, Jess, would you do it again? I'd put my hand up and go, you know what? In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
To raise money and awareness and get that message out there. Especially for young women.
Yeah.
You know, I do remember sitting in that doctor's surgery first time around going, I just thought this was an old, and please, I don't mean to offend anyone, but this is an old lady's disease. I'm not old yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Like the amount of times that you turn up for treatment and people would look at you and think that you were the one with someone else.
Yeah.
And then they would be strapping you up and getting, you know, your cannula ready. And then people would almost look at you as if like, oh, I've got it wrong. And, you know, from even hearing what you've just said, you know, this is my first time of really sharing my story because I've been a bit of a closet cancer survivor. You know, I share it with you guys, obviously, because you're my girls. But, you know, it's the first time that I've really kind of taken the stage and said, actually, this is what I went through. I was, you know, being diagnosed in February 2023. So, you know, surprise.
I know that's so important though, as well for you as part of your like healing.
Yeah.
Like it's good to verbalize. Like I feel like we always have an internal monologue.
Yeah.
And when you verbalize it, you don't realize the people that you can touch and like how you can help other people heal, or even just hearing, like even seeing Jess on stage, like that's enough. Like hopefully people will go and get mammograms, ultrasounds, get things checked when they're not.
Don't take that fobbed off. You're too young. Probably hormonal. Don't take that because if you know your body better than anyone, and even if you still don't believe in your body, get that second opinion.
Yeah. And I think my biggest thing of, you know, getting us together was to just show, you know, the different faces, the different ages, the different places where we were out in our lives. You know, this is such a universal thing more than we know. And it's no longer this disease that people get in the 80s or whatever it is. You know, breast cancer is very real. Breast cancer affects women who are under 40. And obviously we do have a way to go where ideally we could subsidize a bit more so that there is, you know, more subsidized financial early detection for people. So, you know, you're not having to spend the financial impact of having to get a test if you have a family history, you know, doesn't deter people. And hopefully we are able to get earlier detection. People aren't having to have as much invasive treatment.
Well, just for the mere fact that with the change, so when I was first diagnosed, I couldn't get genetic testing done.
Wow.
Because I was 36 at diagnosis. I went, whoa, back this up. That date came after my 36th birthday. I was actually started this shit show at 35. And they're like, no, it has to be the date where you were told verbally. I was like, no, that's disgusting. So they're like, the only way I could get genetics testing done was to save up for it. And I'm like, well, at this stage, I don't have any money for it. And they're like, why? I'm like, my husband is striking right now. And they went 55 days through my treatment. He was striking. So we had no money. So, you know, it was really...
And yet when I was diagnosed, it was one of the first things I was offered.
Yeah. But no, so if at that stage now Medicare has changed it, and I actually got a phone call 2 years later, and I remember it distinctly. I was in Kmart with the kids, get this phone call. It's, Jessica Price, it's genetics. And I just dropped to the floor and went, what the fuck? Like, what's happened now? And they're like, oh, no, it's okay. We just want to tell you can come get tested. And I was like, oh, I thought you were going to tell me like, you know, it's back or something like this. She goes, no, we've got really good news. Like Medicare's changed and you're now qualified to come in for free testing. So then when the second lot came along, they like wanted to get me retested. Genetics caught up and like, we can't do that because it's just a waste of money. No new testing's been brought in, so we're not going to retest for them. So then I've actually become a part of a massive Australia-wide research study for genetics testing, but this one goes for everything. So it's like Alzheimer's, dementia, the whole kit caboodle, which they've not come back and said they've found anything. So
that was, although with the memory loss from chemo,
gotcha.
I'm sure we can all relate to that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's no disrespect to any of those.
No.
Trying to make like lightheartedness.
Yeah. So, but it was just.
You bring up a really good point there with, you know, receiving a phone call and kind of going, oh, what now? And, you know, so our lives have been dissembled, you know, from the foundation up kind of thing. And every other day you do have to kind of live with, oh gosh, this and potential that, or there's a new ache and is it this, is it that?
Anxiety is real.
It's anxiety, you know, and I guess so you need a reason or something to keep you going. So I'm curious as to, I mean, a lot of us, you included, have just come back from some holidays. Yes. So a lot of traveling, making memories with your young family.
Yeah, I would say having something to focus on is definitely helpful.
Yeah.
But also kind of feeding into what you were saying, Alex, about like being authentic about yourself, knowing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Doing something for you. Something that's important. So, you know, I'm going to the gym like 5 times a week now and I'm absolutely loving it. Not also because my body aches, because I'm on a chemical menopause and I need to physically work out and lift weights. I actually bloody love it. So not only with the gym, but planning holidays, travel, and just, I guess, being appreciative of what I have right now is really important. Yeah, because we don't know what tomorrow brings for any of us. And when you're faced with something like this, it does stare you in the face and you think, I can either embrace it or I can almost like I can choose to die lying down or I can choose to go out and do something. And right now, today, I choose to go out and do something.
But yourself, Alex?
Like in terms of doing...
Yeah, like these that you're sort of doing for yourself or the way you're choosing to sort of show up irrespective of the noise in your head.
Yeah, that noise never dulls.
No.
So I also like to work out. I found if I do 30 minutes, 5 days a week of cardio and then 3 weight sessions, that usually kind of keeps my joint, muscle and bone pain at bay. Doesn't actually help with my sleep, which you think it would after working very long days as well.
Yeah.
I feel like sleep's probably the one thing that I miss the most is CBD oil. Like, I just never really got into it.
Have you got 2 girls on CBD? So
get on to it. And yourself, Jess?
For me, I guess the driving force is the girls and Neil. You know, we've got our businesses and that sort of stuff. So there's a lot going on, and I guess that's the goal, kind of.
But motocross as well.
No, motor trials. Shh.
Yeah. I was like,
we're a motorbike flower loving family. It's a very juxtaposed relationship, but it works. You know, like you know, you're gonna love him even more. But if I had weddings coming up, he'd jump on and help me with my weddings or like nationals, or he needs help with the motorbikes. You know, we're
share the load too.
We're each other's biggest cheerleaders, and we believe in each other more than we believe in ourselves.
you can tell.
And that sort of stuff. So pretty much that's just the main reason of keep going on is just, you know,
with family.
It's the family.
I always say that I can't wait to see my kids get married.
Yeah.
Be there for that like special day, grandkids, all that kind of stuff. Like that's a thing that I think is so important.
And you know,
You're ready. but I am ready. Yes.
Yeah.
Not yet.
And, you know, there's also been a lot of guilt with me because it was my body. And it can sound very harsh, but I did take on a lot of guilt that my body stopped a lot of things for not only us, but our businesses. So like, as I said, October 23, I opened up my florist shop. You know, I always wanted a florist shop. So got it in the motorbike shop, and December 23, we had to shut it down because first round of chemo and they found out I was a florist. I'm like, yes, you know, I'm going to have the week of rest and I'm going to go back to work and I'm going to heal my soul with my flowers. And they're like, what the fuck? I'm like, my flowers, I'm a florist, you know? And they're like, oh, you can't work. I was like, why? They're like, fungal pneumonia, don't Google it. Yeah. I was like, really? And so then I'm there. And they're like, yes. I'm like, well, if you're not going to tell me anything about it, but 95% mortality rate with someone with a compromised immune system, and then recovery is between 3 to 5 years. So I just went,
Yeah, okay.
oh, fuck. Because you haven't lost enough, right? So that's the thing. It's like the loss of freedom that you have, you know.
And then just the burden, like my body becoming the burden of the family, and to have to watch.
Yeah.
So again, kind of like that out-of-body experience of being on the outside of the family and just watching everything go on. At one stage, it sounded a bit morbid, but I kind of went, they're going to be okay if I don't make it. Like how Neil dealt with the kids and the girls, I kind of went, okay, if I don't make it, they're going to be fine. I'm not going to be fine. And I'm like, I'm dead. I'm not going to know that. But that's how my reasons, how I can deal with it as well. I actually suffer from a separation anxiety. So I've had to deal a lot with facing death or facing losing things and that sort of stuff. So, so that's been a hard one. That's been a lot of my therapy sessions has been the separation anxiety. And it's now got to a stage where we're kind of buddies. Me and my separation anxiety, and like Neil's been away since Wednesday, the school holiday. So I'm literally doing 12 days by myself, and I kind of got to a little bit of a shitty face. So mine can come out in anger when it comes out. And Audrey comes up to me. She goes, Mum, are you missing Dad? Like, is this your separation anxiety? I went, I think it is. And so she came and she gave me a big hug and she's like, it's going to be okay. Like, you know, I'm like, just don't poke the bear though. Don't poke the bear because that doesn't help me. So yeah, it does come back and like, as you said, the little niggles and pains and it's always there. But again, it's learning to deal with that, but hold that positive thought. So like even I had my back adjusted 2 weeks ago and then since then my front chest wall, like just about here, is sore. And then I was in the bathroom last night and I kind of went, ooh. And literally like just here, it looks like a big round circle. And I'm like going, okay, so let's think about this logically. Last PET scan, which was 4 months ago, everything was clear. Even before that, I had chest x-rays done because we thought I was having a heart attack and dying. No, it was just my body. Neuropathy. Hello. Neuropathy in my feet is causing my back issues. Who would have thought of that? So anyway.
Nervous system as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all that sort of stuff.
Your nervous system is still trying to catch up with a massive freaking traumatic experience.
But just trying to keep the logic.
Yeah.
So then I've had to go that way. And I'm like going, okay, I'm not going to rush to the GP because on Monday I actually have a oncology appointment. So I'm not going to have that as a phone call. I'm going to come in and I'll sit down face to face and go, see this? Like, can I get it seen to faster through you or do you want me to go back through my GP? Either or, I want to get this looked at and go through that. And then I'm like going, would it really appear in 4 months? Because it's only been in the last 2 weeks where it's been sore. And then it's only in like yesterday that I saw it in the mirror. And I see my chest a lot in the mirror. It's like it's there. It's there. You can't miss it. So, you know, and then with Neil being away and then just those
just like, yeah, it's a cat effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's hard trying to find things to be grateful for. Some days is easier than most, but I think a massive one for me was being in the chemo ward. My friend who was supposed to be my chemo buddy that day couldn't make it. So I was feeling a tad bit sorry for myself. Then someone who was next to me went to get up to go to the toilet. And at the time, I couldn't really tell. They had a really like bulky crumper on and beanie and stuff like that. And it was obviously the mum was trying to get the wheelchair to get them to. And then the closer I looked, she had lost her leg to bone cancer, and that was her daughter.
Oh, shit.
And she would have been all of 18, if that.
Yeah.
And there was something about that moment where I was like, holy shit. You know, it just kind of brought it into perspective where I was like, at least my daughter's not sitting in the seat right now, you know, like it just kind of brought it to a head where I was like, holy crap, I literally could be, yeah, wow, at least that's not the case, because I can't think of anything worse as a mum watching, you know, my child having to suffer through something. And I think ever since then, I kind of would go, when I don't have anything else to be grateful for, at least my daughter's healthy. My daughter's not going through this. But yes, so this has been amazing, ladies. Thank you so
I'm
much.
sure we could still talk for like 5 hours.
We could, but yeah, no, look, thank you so much for pouring your hearts and souls into this, and
Thank you for letting us share it. Because honestly, like it's some of the things we've touched on is just doesn't get talked about.
Oh, no. And I think that's what I wanted, you know, and I call this episode Beyond the Pamphlet because, you know, the textbooks and what your medical professionals are able to give you is one thing. But there's so much power, I believe, in telling the stories of people who have lived through experience. We'll, you know, I'll be adding all your details and where people can find your respective stories on the pages, but I just think there's so much more power in telling stories from real people with real lives, with real issues and real everyday things that have to happen despite your world being discombobulated by this thing that you didn't choose. So irrespective of where, you know, people who are watching are at, whether you're a carer, whether you're, you know, someone who's currently going through it, I hope somewhere, somehow they find some kind of solace in knowing, just because you're under 40, it doesn't mean you're not touched by this. But thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Yeah, to go that way. Much love. Yes.
Big love.
Mwah. Thank you for having us.